Okay, we're live.
Great. Thank you, everybody. Good evening. It's January 23rd, 2024. It's 6:03 in the evening. This is a Weston Connecticut Board of Education special meeting to approve and adopt the fiscal year 2025 budget. We have a quorum. All members are present. The first item on the agenda is a pledge of allegiance. If we can do that, please. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Great. So before we start, I just thought it'd be helpful for anyone who is listening who may look at the recording. I think it's been said that this is really not a sprint but a marathon. When I was looking at the key dates that are in the budget book, and this all started on the 4th of October, when the leadership team received a draft copy of the budget calendar, and it then comprises 3 pages of dates and meetings that were held internally with the superintendent and her team, and the principals and the central office leadership, and the Board of Finance. And now here we are on January 23rd, and we're going to vote on the budget. And then this will carry all the way into the first week of May. So the upcoming dates are after we approve a budget, it then gets transmitted to the Board of Selectmen for their review on Valentine's Day. On the 14th, they review our recommendation. They vote on the 26th. It then gets sent to the Board of Finance. They do their activities. They hold a public hearing on the 2nd of April. And then we have our annual town budget meeting on the 24th of April, a proposed referendum on the 4th of May. And then on the 6th, the Board of Finance meets to set the mill rate. So this is in October, early October, beginning to May. So it's a long period with a lot of analysis. So I thought it might be helpful, just Lisa or Phil, just to review where we are right now and what the board is recommending, and then we can have a discussion and have a vote.
Sure. Thank you, Steve. So at our last workshop, which was Monday, I believe, was that yesterday? I'm losing. It's Phil who says it's a marathon. I'm losing track of time. We did discuss. There was discussion around the current budget surplus, and perhaps a plan to use some of that for reoccurring items to lower the 25 budget. And Phil presented on behalf of the team some thoughts on that. I don't know if perhaps it would be helpful to kind of recap that piece of it that was discussed when David actually raised the issue. This is something that the same thing happened last year. We're really trying to be fiscally responsible to the town and looking very carefully at that. And so Phil, would you like us to put that up on the screen again? Is that helpful for everyone, or maybe Dan DeVito can?
I think it would be helpful if, Phil, if you could just give us the proposed budget for 2020, fiscal year 2025, and the percentage increase over our current fiscal year budget, both in operating and capital.
Sure, I can do that.
Great,
Good
thanks.
evening, everyone. So we started this budget cycle. Our initial proposal was a budget increase of a 3.53% of approximately $59,989,157. As Lisa just mentioned at our workshop on Monday, we did propose a reduction, which include a combination of purchasing items, non-recurring items, and also some other pluses and minus for a total adjustment of $390,829, which will leave us with a budget for fiscal year 24-25 of $59,598,329, or a 2.85% increase. That's on the operating budget side. On the capital budget request is for $1,405,000. And I can repeat those numbers if needed, Steve.
I was going to ask, what's the percentage increase over the capital budget last year?
Hold on just 1 second. So that increase is just over $500,000.
What was the question?
Annual increase on the capital budget. So it's just over $5 million. I mean, so we tend to average in the range of $1 million, but for this budget cycle, there was quite a few items that we did want to kind of highlight for this year. We had our infrastructure repairs that we have to consider. In addition to that, one of the significant increase that we have on the capital budget side is on the security initiatives that we have to the tune of $330,000, which is something that we did not have in previous years. We did ask for a special appropriation at the end of last fiscal year, and the Board of Finance did want us, and as we should, have really continuing items in our budget to reflect the need for security.
So of the 500,000, 330,000 is security initiatives.
That's correct.
So there's 100. So to answer Peter's question, if Peter, your question is what I think it is, there's $170,000 in the budget for capital expenses next year. Increase rather, $170,000 increase.
I think we have to be careful how that is expressed, because if we're looking on a pure number to amount to amount, the increase is really $500,000, with a significant portion of that being capital new initiatives for security. If you should minus that from the 500 and 500 plus thousand, then we'll be in a range of $170,000 to $200,000.
So Peter, is that enough money based on you being on facilities and EOC?
Well, Phil and Michael run facilities in the short term, but I will add that in the public record, when Tecton explained to us at the EOC, it was overemphasized that the school districts must invest in repairs, because in a sense, they nullify future applications for state reimbursement if they don't perform repairs. In other words, the state saying, we're not covering HVAC equipment, we'll cover buildings. So you better do your repairs diligently and prudently if you're planning on applying for reimbursement plans from the state. So given that, I think it's prudent where Phil is investing the money this year, one can anticipate that we'll be asked to probably continue a repair path for next year. And we just have to learn more about the best things to repair. And I think you had a good question the other night, like sort of where do we get the biggest bang energy efficiency for bucks that we're investing? And that's forthcoming, right? There's analysis being done, as Phil has said. We have external resources that are available to do the same analysis. So the answer to your question is, given Phil's and Michael's analysis this year, it seems like it's sufficient. I would expect that something will happen next year, either planned or not planned. Some things break, like the pool heating system broke last year. We may find a similar increase next year. But any investment is necessary, but certainly it's an insurance policy for future state reimbursements. I think that's a good message to the public.
Are there other questions, comments about the budget before we come to a determination or recommended changes by any of the members?
I just have a quick question, Steve, for Phil. It may be off base, and Phil, I didn't follow up with you to get sort of clarity on this just before we go to a vote, I guess. There's no pre-funding of any sort of benefit, correct? So the surplus that gets applied, let's say, to the budget going forward, does that is limited to non-recurring or one-time items that cannot be applied to any pre-funding of any benefits or anything else that's recurring, Phil? Just if you can give me like 2 seconds on that, that'd be great.
I'll try to keep it under 2 seconds. So from an appropriation standpoint, we do get our appropriation on an annual basis. So the expenditures that for when we think about benefits, for example, health insurance and retirement as a big ticket items, those are really expenditures for the new year. The mechanism to do that, which we have brought up before with the Board of Finance, is really a non-lapsing account, and that the Board of Finance that's not something that the Board of Finance wants to initiate at this point. So we tend to limit our pre-purchase, so to speak, or any kind of holdbacks on those items that are non-recurrent.
Okay. I guess my only comment then is on the budget itself. Look, I appreciate everyone's put in a lot of work here. So Lisa and your team, ton of work here. You guys were very diligent in responding to all our requests and doing it timely. So I appreciate that. I'm sure other members of the board do as well. Look, I'm happy we found a way to use that surplus, right, to reduce the increase here on a year-over-year basis. I don't think we did much, frankly, to change the cost base itself, and maybe that can be addressed sort of, going ahead in the future. We heard from the public, of course, that it's very important. And I think, to varying degrees, we all agree that is very important, of course, to ensure that this student-to-teacher ratio is intimate and that Weston's known for that. But it does come at a cost, and that we should just make sure that we set the expectations out there with the public that it does come with a cost. So again, appreciate everyone's efforts, and I think we came at least to the best sort of position that we're going to get to at this point, and we limited the increase. So I appreciate everyone's effort in that.
Thanks, Michael.
I just want to jump on. So just I kind of echo what Michael says as well. I just wanted to be clear with the community. We didn't wind up reducing the budget, which is fine. We just have to make sure that we're transparent, right? So we did find some of the savings, which reduced the percentage increase, but we didn't wind up reducing the budget. And the moral of the story is that if we want to continue to operate the intimate school settings that we do and the buildings that have less than 400 kids, which is important to us, it's going to come at a cost. And I think that that's something that we should just make sure the community is aware of. And we should really look at a 5-year projection. And I think we should start doing a 5-year budget and make the presumption that every year it's give or take going to start with a 3% increase because of the contractual obligations. So my feeling is this is the best budget we can come up with. It's a reasonable budget considering that we want to keep that small school size, small classroom size. We should advertise it, so to speak, come to Weston because we have very small intimate school size. But we should also really look at 5-year budgeting and always just project a 3% minimum, because I think that's what we came up with this time around as well. It's with the contractual obligations, we're never going to get away from a minimum of a 3% unless we do something drastic and cut headcount.
That's the only way to reduce the budget,
Right.
is headcount.
Right.
Yeah, so that's everything else is, headcount, if we're going to reduce headcount, that's a conscious decision that this board will have to make in the future.
Right. And I'm not suggesting we do that. I'm just simply saying that when the community looks at the budget increase and the request, it is as lean as can be. We did not reduce, we mitigated, but ultimately there's a decision that we all made as parents and taxpayers to have our kids in schools. And if we're going to stay true to Weston, small, it's the small building size. I think the classroom size is important as well, but I am a proponent of the small building size, and that comes at a cost. And I think we just need to be transparent with people when they say, cut the budget, cut the budget. There's no place to cut unless you want to forego what Weston is intended to be, right? Small community, small classroom size, small building size. So I'm in support of the budget. I just want to make sure the community knows there is no place to cut. It's lean. And if you want to cut the budget, or you want to reduce the budget rather, you're going to have to forego some of the things that make Weston what it is.
Thanks, David. Those are actually very good words. Thanks. Anyone else? No? Well, there are 2 items on the agenda. The first is to vote the operating budget, which Phil, just make sure I have the right number, $59,598,329.
2928. We can go with 20. Let's make it 28.
We just saved some money. $59,598,328. That's the number?
That's the number.
Great. Do I have a motion to approve the fiscal 25-year budget of $59,598,328?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Great. So let's do this verbally. David?
Aye.
Michael?
Aye.
Sharon?
Aye.
Chad?
Aye.
Bernie?
Aye.
Steve? Aye. Peter, I'm sorry. And Peter. Excuse me. How could I forget? The board approves a $59,598,328 operating budget for fiscal year 25. And the second item is a capital budget of $1,405,000 even, Phil?
Yep, 1,405,000.
Great. Do I have a motion to approve the capital budget for fiscal year 25 of $1,405,000?
So moved.
Thank you. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Great. Thanks, Sharon. So we'll do this verbally as well. Peter,
Aye.
Michael,
Aye.
Sharon,
Aye.
David,
Aye.
Bernie,
Aye.
Chad,
Aye.
and I, Steve. Budget, both capital and operating are approved. Thanks, everybody. It's been, guess we're like 2/3 of the way through the journey. And Lisa and everyone, very much appreciate all the work that you've done. You know,
And
it's
I-
really been, it's
sorry.
really been extraordinary, actually. You know, the Board of Education, I've been doing this for a long time on the Board of Finance. The Board of Education over the years has presented very, very tight budgets. At the same time, being able to deliver the quality of education that David just outlined. And this is just another indication, and in fact, probably, you know, the tightest budget from a percentage increase that I think I can remember, you know, in recent times. So thank you, but go ahead, Lisa.
Yes, thank you, Steve. First of all, I want to again thank the administrative team, the people that are here and the people that aren't here for their help, because it really was a team effort. And thank you, Board of Education, for supporting this budget and for recognizing what we know in the community that Weston stands for. You know, this is my 39th year here. And I love this district. I love these children, and I love these families and this town. And our goal is always to be transparent, to be responsive. If we welcome questions during this process, you know, there's really no reason to you know, not to work collaboratively. We shouldn't be defensive. I appreciate when you push back and you push our thinking on certain areas, because I really believe that that is part of the process. And it is in that way that we, you know, fulfill our responsibility to Weston's children, as well as our fiduciary responsibility to the town. So we welcome the continuing journey. Next week, just remember, we do have an executive session on security, and we will be getting out for the Board of Selectmen that are listening. We'll be getting out the books and the documents to the for the next round. So again, thank you, really, on behalf of the team. I want to thank you for being such engaged members in the process, I guess I would say, because it's important.
And just a reminder, we do have a public meeting on the 12th at 6 o'clock at the middle school.
Yes, in person.
In person. So that's our next Board of Education meeting.
We'll be
Yes.
doing an update on our mid-year progress that Dr. Henkel is busy working on, as is other members of the team. So, yeah, it'll be great.
Well, thanks, everybody. Unless there's anything else, can I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
A second?
I'll second.
Great. All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Great. On to the next. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Thank you, everyone, for all your hard work.